What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're actually going to be taking a look at the knockoff version of the Shadow Scythe armor. This is done by the same people who did the City Commander, Shadow Commander knockoffs that are not bad, but they end up needing a lot of work. This is much better quality than the old ones were, or than the City Commander knockoffs were. But I just wanted to show you the box here first to show you some of the things that are different in case you are crazy and are willing to spend the $400 it takes to get a Shadow Scythe armor. The first thing to notice, none of these symbols are on the real box. Over here you're going to have the name and the Fansproject designation number on it, and at the bottom you'll probably see Fansproject down here. And the other big thing is on the back here, on the bottom, there would be some Fansproject statements there. And the last thing I can really show, hopefully, is if you zoom in or you look carefully at the text, you can see how rough the outlining is there, and that is not the case on an actual Fansproject box. So that's the box itself. Now, you'll also notice that it's a bit lighter feeling, and I took out my protector box and insert to see what it came with. You can see there is a nice cardboard box that the shell actually fit in, and that adds quite a bit of weight, whereas the knockoff just came with the shell like this. So here's the toy itself, and I have him with a knockoff Shattered Glass Rodimus. I bought him as a set because Shattered Glass Rodimus is going for about $500 to $600, and I can't afford that not for a deluxe. There's no way I'd pay something like that. It doesn't matter who it is. But yeah, so here's the set, and it looks good. It's Shadow Scythe with a Shattered Glass Rodimus. I do notice that on the back here, this piece doesn't tend to want to sit down all the way. You can see tolerances are different on this toy, so things don't necessarily sit 100% correct. It's not the biggest of gaps back there, but there's still a gap. You can also see that this time I get the two back wheels spinning, but the front one doesn't, whereas most of them, the original protector was the front and the back would spin, and this one would just be off in the air. Overall, it's really cool. It's very well done. Like I said, there are some tolerance issues, so you're going to need to do a little bit of work if you get this to make everything work right. Let's talk about the accessories before we go into the robot mode. Inside the box, there were the fists that you can make that handshake between Optimus and Rodimus. I got two of them. I'm not sure if there was supposed to be two of them. The faceplate here, the replacement one, it's just an all red faceplate. The eyes are usually red too. I went ahead and painted them yellow to give them some contrast. And then you have the components that make up his actual scythe. Now, unfortunately, I found no place that these can actually store on the vehicle, so it's something you're going to be putting separate if you want to put him in his vehicle mode. But this is a great example of where tolerances need to be checked before you mess with this too much. Now, I took the sword and I put it right in here without thinking too much about it, and then I struggled and fought to try to get this separated. I actually had to get a small screwdriver and put it on the crack and use a hammer to pound it in to slowly work this out. Once I got it out, I then sanded this pretty good and just put it in a little, checked it, and kept going until it fit nice. So make sure you check that, otherwise this could be stuck in here forever, and it does feel very, very fragile in terms of this connection between this lower piece and the handle here. And the same applies down for here where you have the pieces of the handle connect. This little tab also needs to be sanded down, otherwise it is a pretty forceful interconnection that's probably going to lead to something break. But boy, I like this accessory. Look, you got a sword, You just stick it on in here. You got a spear, and you flip it on over, and now you have a scythe. Makes me wonder. Oh, now you have an even better scythe if it goes the other way. That's pretty awesome. I love this accessory. I think it's one of the best ones that's out there. Can't complain. The knockoff Wild Rider also came with the red missile, of course, and his gun. I just put it in for show. There's what it looks like coming out of the back of the Prime trailer, and it really doesn't fire. And this is actually going to be a problem we're going to deal with later. Let me show you. Let's start working on getting him to his robot mode. We gotta open that, and you can see immediately this fell out. And this is one of the problems I had. You can see at the top, I've given it a shot of some clear nail polish to try to hold them in better. These would just fall right on out all the time, and I still haven't, unfortunately, solved the one side because it still keeps wanting to fall out. And I think it's because of how these holes are formed. They're a little bit, they've got a little bit of mold flash still in there, and I think that is a problem. Same went for the top here. Let me pull this off. If you look at my tops, I had to file a little bit of the peg away because it actually stuck out too far to go in these holes. So this is just, it's not a bad set, but it is filled with a couple little tolerance issues that need to be addressed if you want this. So let's take this and we will kind of turn this into its little portable base mode here. Oh, lost one of the leg panels there. So it still does its little pop down thing. This is just one of the leg pieces we're gonna use. It's not as nice as the real Rodimus in terms of how this assembly like pegs together. It just kind of sits like that, and you can still, of course, pull it out if you want to. Yeah, it's okay. I'll just take roller out, and you'll see, you can see what's going on here. Like, things are just coming off that aren't really supposed to. This is the cannon that is inside the top here. Is just, the hole is just a little bit too big, so it's loose in there. Nothing that a little glue won't fix, but I figured I'd show you this how it is for the most part, except for the things that just weren't working. And here inside you got his little hot rod, Nemesis version of hot rod roller. This down here, this little swivel assembly, was really floppy. You'd pick it up and it would fall down. I already gave this the nail polish treatment on there so it holds better, but you can still take the fire and hold it in, but it's very loose. Again, tolerance issues, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. Let's take these parts of the trailer off here. And I don't think I'm going to show much more of the base mode. There's no real reason, in my opinion. Nobody is buying this for the base mode, I don't think. So, I'm just taking off all the pieces here that form our shadow scythe. So, there we go. Base mode's in there. You can put the gun, still has the handles. Yep. Moving on with that. Now, might as well be reviewing the Shattered Glass Rodimus KO while I'm here too. He's okay. He does have some issues, like this tolerance is really tight, so I find myself having to grip the wheel while I push this, and that's about as far as I can go. But fortunately, that's good enough. Let's raise this camera here so we don't go off screen. And let's start transforming him. I start by rotating these panels down, and you can see it's just barely enough. It just clears. Now we'll take his legs and kind of unpeg them. I actually had more trouble with this than I thought I was going to. We'll flip the back assembly here. Now, again, a knockoff. So, one of these two sides, this side, extends perfectly. This side over here is so tight that it takes so much effort to actually get it to swing around. So again, tolerances are not right. You still have the feet that flip out. I mean, it's just Rodimus again. Get them. We got that. And then this whole assembly flips down, revealing his semi-ugly head. Not painted very well, but that's okay. Who cares about that? Still much cheaper. What I'm really surprised about here is that his arms didn't just pop right out of the ball joint sockets. This particular one, I did tighten them up already with some nail polish on this because it was so frustrating. He couldn't even, you know, be held in any manner without his arms popping off. So, and then his fists here do swivel out. One of them comes out really easy. That's what I was experiencing before. The second one, I must have worn down the joint by doing this like 150 times, that it actually works better. But arms are very frustrating on this toy. Overall, it's an okay knockoff if you want the looks. In terms of its quality, the plastic feels good, but there's a lot of stupid little things like the ball joints that are an issue. But I didn't get him so I could display him like this. I don't really care about this particular mode. I bought him to go with my Shadow Scythe. So let's get to transforming Shadow Scythe, shall we? We'll start with his legs. Same thing as Protector. The only thing that stinks about him is he's all black, so it makes him hard to film. You can see on the plastic there's some, actually looks like somebody's fingerprints and stuff on there. So again, not of the highest quality, but certainly sufficient. So we take this assembly, we'll rotate this around, and this is also one that I had to put a little bit of nail polish and stuff on because the leg would not hold together once it was clipped, which makes it impossible to put him in Rodimus mode. If the leg doesn't hold together, then it's not gonna work. Do it on the second side again, flip it, close it on up. So we got those. We'll just take our Rodimus here and we'll put his feet away. And clip him on in, make him just a little bit taller. You can see, as I'm trying to put this on, see how the leg keeps splitting apart. It's still not the most solid of connections, but with the nail polish, it's tight enough that it's not coming off. So, without it, it would just pop to pieces and he wouldn't stand in his armor anymore. So, I still need to do a little bit more to make it sit a little bit tighter, but he at least can get in the armor now. The arms, rotate this on up here, flip this exhaust piece out, and then flip everything around just so it makes a good arm. And do it again for the other side. Flip this, flip that. There we go. Two arms. And these fists are loose, but they are not going to fall out or anything. So let's take him and we'll put his arms on. And you gotta rotate his fists in. Take his popping off arm off. And then it just kind of slips under and then clips on top of the wheels. And this is something that also the tolerances were a little bit off on mine and didn't sit quite right, but it's good enough. I think all that would need to be fixed is maybe a little bit taken off this hole so the wheel sits in better. And it really, his left arm, the one I'm working on now, tends to be the one that was the problem. Fortunately, it pops off so you can see what we're doing. So you get that, and then it doesn't really want to click on this particular arm. But it is on in some fashion. Yeah, you can see how it's just not sitting very good. There we go, finally. Now, we'll get to his chest here. You see he's got his awesome other head. Now, if you look at mine, you can see right there where I've sanded some away. I'm going to put a picture here real quick that I took that shows you what this chest piece looked like right next to the protector one. You can see that there's a huge tolerance issue missing on this little gap, which caused this chest piece to not really pull out. While you were busy looking at the pictures, I lost the picture, I lost the light, but that's okay, we'll continue. Put that on, and again, notably on the top, because of the tolerance issues, this doesn't sit as nice as it does on a real one, but it works for me. And the final piece, his head, which just looks amazing. I love that. And we gotta put his spoiler pieces on. So there we go. We've got Shadow Scythe here, just looking awesome, and I love that head sculpt. That is fantastic looking. Now, the Scythe portion, this little peg on the back is supposed to peg in his back, but it doesn't. Again, tolerance issues. But he does an okay job holding his sword if you want him to, and looks just like, man, he looks like he's so angry holding that sword like that. I adore this guy. This was really a cool version that I wish I had the real one, but hey, this is good enough for me. Let's put the scythe in his hand, because that's pretty awesome. And you can do some two-handed poses I've seen. I'm not going to waste time doing a bunch of poses. You can figure them out yourself. Man, that arm. You see why the KO Shattered Glass Rodimus is a hassle. This arm just does not want to stay on. So we'll take that, put this on the ground, and we'll put his scythe in. I mean, look how cool this guy looks. I love this guy. He's just so evil and awesome. Before I bring in anything else, I did realize I said that the Wild Rider gun was an issue, and I wanted to just kind of show. So here's the Rodimus gun that comes in the trailer. That's supposed to go onto here, and they kind of do, but they're very, you know, flicky and don't really hold on very well. And then when you take this handle out, it's always on an angle, so when he's holding his gun, he's always pointing it kind of at the ground a little. So I don't use this accessory. It's kind of annoying, and frankly the fact that he has this awesome scythe, why does he need the gun? He looks awesome with his scythe. So I thought for comparison purposes, instead of bringing in Protector, who is exactly the same thing but a different color, I'll show him in the pictures, I would bring in the other shadow version of a character. And do these two look really good sitting next to each other or what? I just love how the two of these guys look. Real quick, I'll take this off and we'll pull out his faceplate here, and we will put the more Wild Rider version on in, and we'll put that on. So there's how it looks if you want the Wild Rider and you're willing to paint the knockoff's eyes red, or I'm sorry, yellow, like I did to break up all the red. I think it looks pretty good. So I think this is definitely an awesome set to get if you are a fan of the colors, or you just wanted one and you really don't want to spend the $700 to $800 that buying the real Rodimus and Shadow Scythe armor will cost you. Just keep in mind that certain things just don't really work that well and need some attention to be made better. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.